By now, Bittensor should be famous for its pump and dumps. It seems quite obvious that at some point the price of TAO will go down again. The question is, are we going to reach that $5 billion mark in market cap again? We are currently at 3.2 billion. And it appears as if we've quite some way to go. But unfortunately, the situation isn't that simple because there's a lot of correlation in crypto. Either the market is going up or everything is going down at the same time. So obviously there's some impact on where Bitcoin is going, where Ethereum is going, on the altcoin market, including the Bittensor price. And so that's why I like to look at relative valuations. This is a video published 3 days ago, and it looks at the TAO price relative to the others market cap. So how is Bittensor doing relative to all other altcoins? We had been very close to resistance. We have now crossed that resistance. So are we turning around now? Do we see a continuation of the rally? And do we then turn around? Is there still the potential upside of another 35% or so, which then would also align with a $5 billion market cap? Let's try to figure out what's going on. Let's try to figure out what's pushing the price in the first place. And let's see whether or not we have some parallels to other cryptocurrencies that had similar rallies in the past. Maybe you know this person, maybe you don't. This is Jason Calacanis, one of the most famous venture capitalists in Silicon Valley. He went on a podcast sharing that he has 500 million invested in TAO. Here is the All In podcast together with Chamath, the Spec King. And here they talked about Bittensor as well. And the CEO of NVIDIA gave his support for decentralized AI computing, which is pretty much where Bittensor is positioned. And so we've got these major players in tech that are suddenly pumping and maybe later dumping crypto again. Maybe there's a replay of something we've seen in the past, because we have. But first, let's have a look at the news. There's now another trust by Grayscale. It all started off with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. More trusts followed. This is still a private trust, so this cannot be bought publicly. But let's continue with the recent developments. There's now a Grayscale Bittensor Trust. It started with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which later was converted into an ETF. The speculation here is that this trust at some point will also get converted into an ETF, which then brings more demand to Bittensor. This then also aligns with technical development. Bittensor has just launched another layer 2 to increase scaling. Now this channel is different to other crypto channels. Most crypto channels stop here. They just say there's positive news, Bittensor might rally from here, it might go 5 or 10x, and then they recommend to buy Bittensor. But I like to trade, I like to invest based on data. And one interesting data point is the relative valuation of TAO to Bitcoin. In the last 1.5 years, we have been trading in a range. Unfortunately, we are at the upper end of that trading range now. If the resistance holds, we might underperform by more than 50% from here. I also like to backtest. I like to run simulations of buying and selling. Let's try to find the best moving averages for Bittensor relative to Bitcoin. So let's see when we've got golden crosses and when we've got death crosses, so a combination of two moving averages that might indicate the trends properly. So this is Bitcoin Strategy Analytics, the analytics platform available to the premium members. And here is the backtest for Bittensor. The best combination of moving averages for Bittensor is the 6-day simple moving average combined with the 15-day simple moving average. That's on the relative valuation chart. So TAO relative to Bitcoin. Here is that setup. Currently, the shorter term moving average, the 6-day SMA, is above the longer term moving average. But historically, this moving average combination gave us quite good signals when things might be turning around. And so I think it's quite dangerous to actually now bet on falling prices of TAO. Even though its relative valuation to Bitcoin is rather high, we might see this rally continue for a bit longer. I think it's better to wait until the momentum fades, until the rally stops. Historically, it was best to wait until the white line crossed the line in turquoise again, and we are still quite far away from that situation. We have to wait a few days. Have a look at how well this strategy worked in the past. This is without any leverage. This is the TAO price in the bottom here, so the line in gray. And simple positioning of going long and short without any leverage gave us the return here in blue. At the bottom, that's the portfolio performance measured in TAO. So this is very, very consistent alpha. And I think it makes sense to take those crosses at least into consideration, simply because it worked so well in the past. Again, that's the 6-day together with the 15-day simple moving average. Currently, the momentum is still very, very bullish. We might potentially hit the $5 billion mark. Can we then, when we are at 5 billion, easily short? Can we then bet on falling prices even without that signal, without a death cross? I'm actually not so sure, because shorting at $5 billion seems to be the obvious trade. Too many people might do it, and then a short squeeze might happen. Something very similar to what we have seen with Zcash. And this is where I want to draw the parallels here. This time it's Jason Calacanis that's pushing TAO. Last time with Zcash, it all started with Naval calling Zcash an insurance against Bitcoin. That created a rally large enough that Zcash became one of the very few outperformers when the rest of the altcoin market tended to rather decline. Zcash appreciated against all odds. Naval, by the way, is the founder of AngelList. He published a lot of interesting content around the dynamics of wealth creation, but that's besides the topic of this video. What is the topic of this video though is that even Zcash at some point found the inflection point. Not at 3 billion, not at 5 billion, but at 10 billion. It was one of the largest rallies we have seen in the last 12 months. And so at some point the hype dies down, and that's what happened with Zcash as well. I do think that TAO's hype will die down as well, but will it die down right now at 3 billion when it's rather high versus Bitcoin, or will the rally continue to 5 billion? I think it's better to wait and see. It's better to wait until the current momentum slows down, until we get a death cross. That's at least historically what worked phenomenally well for Bittensor. And so of course nobody knows if the trading rule will continue to work in the future, but I think it's better than to just random guess. I think it's better to use rules that at least have the tendency to outperform. So that's what I personally do. I'm not shorting TAO right now. I'm just staying on the sidelines. I'm not buying into it either, because it's already very expensive relative to Bitcoin. I'm just waiting for the next days. If we continue to rally and at some point we stop the rally and we see the death cross, that's then my call. That's then when I bet on falling prices and make money with the decline of Bittensor, as we did with the decline of Zcash as well. And with we, I mean of course the premium community here, right? This is where I share my own trades as well. This is also where you can automatically copy trade whatever I do. Feel free to check it out. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. Link is down in the pinned comments. If you got some value out of this video, feel free to give it a like. It will help the channel grow. Feel free to also subscribe. I publish videos regularly on this channel. See you next time on YouTube, or see you on premium. Cheers!